Good evening, everyone. This is Melinda Russell. I'm your host tonight for Women in Motorsports. I welcome you to the show. If you're listening live, remember that you can share what we're doing and you can write in some questions. My guest tonight is Charlotte Sharpe. Charlotte, I met through Facebook. Wow, what a surprise. You hear that every week. I've met some amazing ladies again through Facebook, and she connected with me a couple of months ago or more probably and asked me if I would be willing to come to an event that she was planning in Chicago, and would I speak a little bit about the Women's Association. And of course I jumped at that chance, and we met for the first time in person that evening, and I knew she was somebody that I wanted to get on the radio show. I want her to tell about the event that she planned and that went off beautifully, and why she did it, how she did it, and all of that. So Charlotte, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Charlotte, first thing, I want you to tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself, you know, where you live, what you do, family, whatever kind of personal things you're willing to share, and then we'll get started with your event.
So, obviously, you know my name. I'm just outside of Chicago, about 25 minutes if there's no traffic, 4 hours if there is, northwest of the city. And my partner and I have a little girl who is 6, who believes she's a future drag racer. So we'll see how that plays out. She actually races the little track cars, the RC cars right now. So she's really and really that takes most of my time, right? Being a mom is my first priority. And then I've been kind of working for myself for now 2 years, focusing on Hot Rod Harlot, my clothing line, but then also looking for ways to kind of bridge gaps. And I guess that's where we'll segue soon into the event. But that's the love of cars is a family thing. It's never mattered if they were new, old, or anything in between. If they went fast and I could drive them, or I was allowed to drive them, then I was up for it. So we have a 52 in the garage that needs some work, and I love her to pieces. She's named Ruby after our daughter. And so that's me in a nutshell. I've had the need to speed for a long time.
Have you always lived in Chicago?
No, I actually grew up in the UK, moved here when I was 9, and then spent most summers over there. So I'm a transplant.
Okay.
Living the American dream. And yeah.
Awesome. So why don't you, I'm just going to kind of let you go. Why don't you tell our listeners, how did you get the idea for your event, and what, who was there, and what was your purpose? I'm going to let you have the floor.
All right. So Larry Fletcher, who does Motoblot here in Chicago, which is an established motorcycle hot rod crossover event downtown, which is and it's not only one of its kind, has always been really supportive. I've worked with them on a few different things, and I approached Larry and I said, listen, I have an idea. I think that women are, making a move. They have been for a long time. I come from the motorcycle industry a number of years ago, and even back in the early 2000s, there was chatter in that quiet movement of women towards motorsports or motorcycling, right? I remember a Harley ad, circa 2000, probably 5. And it was, it was a woman on the back of a bike, and it was kind of, something different. People were like, oh, look, women are getting into motorsports.
Yeah.
And so I went to Larry and I said, listen, I think that there's all these moving parts, and there's all these women out there who are doing really cool things, and yet there's nothing that binds us. There's all this chatter of women supporting women and, this, that, and the other. And I just didn't feel that it was really happening, right? And so I said to Larry, listen, I want to do this event. And this is 2 months before Motoblot. And he goes, all right, well, you have Friday night, you have a space, do what you're going to do. I'll support you however I can. And we started, and this we was a collection of women, the women from Asphalt Bombers. They're awesome. They're a car club, a male-female car club, but there's kind of the bomber broads, as they like to be known. They helped this woman, Alicia, April, I'm going to miss people there, but there was a ton of women that kind of came behind. Melissa Gold came behind this idea. and started to lay the foundation and the framework and started to reach out to women in motoring, be it motorcycles or cars or whatever, or women who were doing business in spaces that were typically the male dominated, or we're doing things that were a little bit different. So we started that, and we got some sponsors and put together these goodie bags. As you know, they were epic goodie bags. We had a lot of, yeah, they were good, weren't they? I kept one. But it didn't matter who we reached out to. People responded. These women were willing and open to this collaboration. They were open to this environment where they could share their ideas or shake hands with women who they may or may not have seen on social media or in the news, or however they were, finding out about women in motorsports. And we were lucky enough to have a great list of ladies. Obviously, you spoke about your ambitions with the organization as well as what you do in your free time. And then we also had Gina Woods of Open Road Radio. Gosh, she and I go back so many years. Always has been supportive, but she's like kind of the godmother of motorcycling in Chicago. She's been doing it for a long time, very well known. Sarah Vaughn was another speaker. She's a photographer. Danger Designs was one of the girls who started the Bleeders with another group of really cool ladies who are really living the female biker lifestyle. They just are super cool. Every one of them is different. Great group of ladies. That's the Bleeders. Rebecca Brown, she is known as Fanny Freckles, who's the lady behind Mississippi Mayhem, which is a car show and motorcycles, but it's really more cars, that takes place up in Wisconsin, just outside of Wisconsin Dells. And she's super cool. She's, talk about somebody who's come into her own. She's been in the scene for a while, and I've watched her evolve and really start to get her feet under her. She's a really interesting woman and does a lot of cool stuff. Kelly Yearwood was there. Kelly is the founder of Pits for Patriots. They train pit bulls that are, cast off, found in shelters, most of them high kill shelters. She's super active in that space. Another thing that is very near and dear to my heart, which is rescue. And Kelly, what a force. She and her husband have gone through so many trials and tribulations, and they keep going forward. And what a great organization, if you have extra pocket change, to go and send their way, because what they do really does matter. And I think that's, I don't know, I'm really proud to know Kelly. We had Jeanette from Car Chicks, another one. What a story there. I don't know if you remember that, but, she came, yeah. I mean, I was completely floored when she took the floor. She spoke about her journey, her love for cars, how she ended up where she is. An unlikely story, put herself through school, really rose against odds, and I'm honored to know her. She's really somebody out there doing something and has her way of doing it and is unapologetic, and I think that's really kind of great.
I wondered if she meant to have that planned. I almost felt like she just kind of felt like that was on her heart and wanted to share it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the story coming, nor did I see the complexity of her story. Mm-hmm. I hope, we'll have to circle back with her, but I hope that it's actually giving me goosebumps. I hope that it was because of the environment and the platform and the comfort. And when there's somebody else I need to mention, and then I'll circle back. But I do think that we created, yourself as well. I mean, we all created a really interesting, energy-filled, powerful night of female collaboration. But before we get there, I need to talk about Jackie Van Ham, who brought the event home. I mean, yes. She, you couldn't have asked for a more powerful ending to the speakers. She Jackie's a professional speaker. She's worked with Progressive for many years, but I think first and foremost, she's a motorcycle enthusiast. I mean, she is a two-wheel babe, and I mean, she's out there, she's traveling the world. And she does have the power of she's very powerful when she speaks. And, I think by the time she brought it home, I don't know. I just think she did a great job, and she leaves me with a smile, as all of you did. But what I was saying earlier was, the environment, the energy, the feedback. Some women there was a woman who owns Tarnish Chicago, who is super cool, Nick. And Tarnish Chicago is a store in Chicago that's motorcycle or female motorcycle wear, as well as kind of the boho chic, super great vibe in there. But Nick pulled me aside and said, I don't know what I expected. She's like, and I kind of just came because it was the thing to do, and I wanted to support you and blah. She kind of positioned it. She's not one to hand out compliments either. And then she's like, I ended up fully enjoying it. Which, first and foremost, to hear somebody who doesn't hand out compliments say what a great night she had, to hear her say that we surpassed her expectations, is awesome. But I think that what a shame that we walk into events wondering how it's going to be if it's all women getting along. And what a shame that we don't normally collaborate and work together. And, but I do think that it's the beginning of something really great, that'll do something, hopefully to knit a community and, that is tight knit, that where we are working with each other, where we identify opportunities for each other. In fact, I was able to put together Motobirds, which is an organization out of New Jersey. And Carrie is the woman who does Motobirds Adventures, and she goes around the world and does these tours. You sign up, you go, and she has, I think they did Belize, or they're doing Belize. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I was able to connect her with Jennifer from Wind and Throttle, which is Chicago-based online women's motorcycle apparel company. They have great stuff for non-riders too. And Jennifer, I had some material that came to me late from Carrie. I wasn't able to get it into the goodie bags from the event, so I approached Jennifer the next morning and said, at Motoblot, and said, hey, would you consider putting her material in your orders? And she was like, absolutely. And that right there, that's what we were doing.
Absolutely. And, interesting. And I don't know who the woman was. I gave her my card. She didn't have one to give me, but she was going to reach out to me. There was a younger woman there that came by herself. She's riding across the country on a motorcycle by herself. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I should have got her name. She approached me at the end and said she would reach out to me, and I haven't heard from her, but maybe put the word out, because I wanted to do a story about her in the magazine, because dang, I would not be brave across the country on my motorcycle by myself. So no. That was pretty impressive. And just the variety of women, the age variety, the background variety, what they do was just so wide open, but yet we all had a common theme. We all love some kind of motorsports or motors in some kind of vehicle.
That has wheels and a motor. There was somebody there who loved every version of that. My husband, or my partner, often says to me, he'll watch lawnmower races if that's on, because it's he really is the epitome. But and I think that he's been really good at introducing me, and I think that that's how most women get started, right? They have a man in their life who's father, brother, whatever, husband, boyfriend, and they kind of show them the space, and from there it kind of goes. As I mentioned, I was introduced for the most part to fast cars by a friend in college who used to run cars for one of the larger dealerships. And he used to show up with Porsche and Ferrari for me, and we just go, and I'd rip down the highways. And I remember that moment when I got the bug, when you downshift a stick shift or a paddle shift car, and you feel them almost recoil or sit down before they sling you forward. I mean, it's a rush unlike any other. So we all get that bug, and that was there in that room. The energy, it was women at full throttle. Yeah.
And the room was beautiful. You have to mention it was all white.
Mm-hmm. Purple lighting.
Couches. It was impressive when you walked in.
Yeah, the music, the playlist, actually, you can get online. Nothing. There was nothing subtle about the music list or the choice of music. Yeah, I mean, it was powerful, and it was cool, and I was honored to have been a part of it. And I am honored to wear my job.
Yeah. So I have a question here for you.
Mm-hmm.
It says, how do I get product into Canada when women racers carry access to your product?
So, you can reach out to me at Charlotte at hotrodharlot.com. We can talk about that. There are ways. I always sell online. If he's looking for wholesale information, there is wholesale information too that I can share. International gets a little bit tricky because you've got the taxes and such, but there are ways to do it. So is that from Jay? Yeah, I see that's the question. Yeah, hey Jay, how are you? Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, just reach out again at Charlotte at hotrodharlot.com.
So tell me some more about your Hot Rod Harlot. I love the name.
Yeah, it's satirical, obviously. The brand came from, I don't even know if I want to share. Like, the whole story is kind of long. I tend to be long-winded, so you shut me up if you want to.
We have plenty of time.
Okay. I got laid off 2 weeks after returning from maternity leave. I was a regional marketer for a brand, a company, and they eliminated my role right as I was coming back from maternity leave. And one night I was, we'd gone to the car shows that summer. I had my infant daughter, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I'd kind of always been in corporate America. And I woke up I started to panic. Rowan was unexpected. She came a lot earlier than we thought she would, and planned but early. Let's leave. I'll stop talking there. And I woke up in the middle of the night trying to figure out, what was I going to do next? And Hot Rod Harlot was in my head. And I was finding that I would go to the car shows, or we'd go to the races or whatever, and there was never anything for me. It was like all these men's shirts. So I got to buy, if I liked something, it had to be a man's cut. It was small, it was tight in the wrong places and loose in the others. And I'm not a small girl, so, finding shirts that fit was hard. And so Hot Rod Harlot came to mind, and I started the brand. And, I think that most women have gotten, if they're into cars, they've gotten into a car not because of who's driving it, but because of the vehicle. So obviously it translates to something that's questionable. The word harlot is a word that I do get some pushback on, but I own anyway. And then they all started happening. I'm a marketer by trade, so taglines and creative, speaking to the consumer is something that I do on a daily basis. And so the ideas started happening. I partnered up with an old friend of mine, Sabrina, who is a very talented graphic designer who understands the madness that is my mind. And she's able to take a concept and a tagline, and I think it looks like this, and then she creates them, and then we throw them on t-shirts. And it's given me, what I think is really cool is if you understand the brand, right? If you don't read it as, I don't know if this word's appropriate, but car whore, which is what it translates to. If you don't see it for that, and you see it for the humor, and you see it for the fact that we're making fun of the fact that women shouldn't be in this space, but we are anyway, and we're going to do it our way, and we don't care what you call us. We are, if you see the brand for what it is, it's allowed me to springboard into the space, to go back to something that I was familiar with, that I loved, to reconnect, and then empower women, which wasn't the intent, but apparently I do that, and the brand does it. I don't, but the brand does, and that's that's really neat to watch and to be a part of. And the brand is not me. I just work for it. It is its own living entity. And she's cheeky, and she, it's a cheeky brand. So yeah, there's something for everyone though, and it's not always very, overt or
no. And you have to just take it with a smile, because that's how it's intended.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be funny. It's not a car club. We get a lot of, oh, you're a car club. Well, no, we're not. It's a brand. It's for everybody. You don't have to be wrenching. You don't have to be behind, in the garage underneath your motorcycle or your ATV or whatever it is that you're into. You don't have to be doing that. You can enjoy the sport. The number of men that buy the product for women is or for their partners or girlfriends, whatever, is surprising. The repeat business is awesome. I don't know. I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. And I don't know. I love what I do, and it's because of the people. This is the support that I get, which I don't know, humbled.
Yeah, I feel the same way, because I have so many people who say to me, "Why hasn't anybody thought of this before?"
Mm-hmm. I don't know why anybody hadn't. Yeah,
but I'm glad I did. So it's been fun, because I meet people like you. We would have never connected.
No.
Those ladies that not only spoke at your event, but that that I just met standing around talking, every one of them had a different kind of story, or it wasn't just a group. It wasn't a group of people who race. It wasn't a group of people who ride motorcycles. It was such a wide variety, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's all of us. I mean, I don't think it matters who you are. I mean, obviously I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but I think that we all are fascinated by what other people are doing, right? And you aspire, and you take a little bit from here, and you take a little bit, and you think, oh, wow, I love that woman's style. Or, oh, man, I really wish I was doing this with my life. Or how cool that, she's racing, or she's doing, that's collaboration. Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. I just wish we could, as women, could really. So the best way to put it is this. One of the women, and I believe it was Sarah Vaughn, while I was talking to her about speaking. I believe it was Sarah. If it wasn't, she's going to get some nice credit. And it was, what she said was, she's like, I guess I struggle because, not that I'm man bashing when I say this, because men are the ones who support us as we support them, and there's no man bashing here. But she said, how can we expect business, men, society to take women seriously when we can't even take each other seriously? Mm-hmm. We're not willing to work together, and open each other's eyes and introduce each other to different things, opportunities, adventures. What a different world we would have if we managed to work together and not resort to our habit of after. We all do it. Every one of us, myself included, I'm guilty. I try not to. I'm correcting that behavior. And I think if we can all try to correct that behavior, or at least not be so vocal, put on a happy face, shake hands and love each other. I sound like, I want to give everybody a hug. And I suppose I do. But I just think we'd get much further, much faster.
Well, I think we need to kind of band together, because the power is in the numbers, my goal is to connect and sell. So I just want them to connect with each other. This one helps everyone. We share what we know. And that's all I try to do. So on our Facebook page, we connect, we share events all over the country, because we want women to come out and be a part of it and not feel like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm in a male sport, you're not going to treat me fair. That's not what I'm finding at all.
Right. No, I think in Trackside Susie, when I was talking to her, she was unfortunately unable to make the event due to a strap. She she said, she's like, men, drive us forward. A lot of the time they are the ones who introduce us to things or to sports or, my goodness, Tom would support me. I'd run off a cliff and as I was running, he'd push me back and be like, I'll see you at the bottom, babe. Yeah, you're spot on.
So plans are for another one next year. Anything before that?
There may be one. I don't. It's funny. I was approached to do one in Buffalo, New York, and then I was also by the same gentleman. He suggested that I get in touch with IMS. He was going to do an introduction with IMS, International Motorcycle Show. He was totally behind it. Mark, who owns, I forget. I think his partner's name is Nick. They own City Limit Moto out of Buffalo. And I was like, yeah, and then I kind of think that we need to do another one here in Chicago before we go anywhere else. And it will be next year, Moto Blot. The date will be given as soon as I can get it from Larry. Hopefully he'll support us again. I can't imagine he wouldn't. Yeah, and I would encourage anybody who's listening or watching or whatever to come out to the event. There's the after party, I think that next year I'm going to broaden it just slightly to include women who are firefighters or police officers, or again, kind of just open it up a little bit. Military. Again, women who are just forging forward and doing things and involved in spaces where they get some pushback, and they can realize that we're out here. We are out here where, we are here to support, to help them
sounds like a great plan. So what else can you tell me about, so where can we find your clothing line? For one?
So you can find it online at hotrodharlot.com. The site is, I keep it as up to date as I can. There's a lot of merch that doesn't make it on because it travels the country. Or there's also on Facebook, you can follow Facebook, Instagram. It's all, you'll see the personality of the brand there, and order, there and online, and I'm sorry, it shows. I am around. I'll be at Byron, Meltdown Drags in Byron, Illinois on 2 weeks. Burn Down at Sundown, which is at Joliet. This Saturday I'll be vending there. Simcoe, which is a big car show in Simcoe, Wisconsin in August, and then it kind of goes Iron Invasion and Woodstock. The Classic, great event backed by Joliet. They're doing the Classic, which is, you'll never guess, a classic car show there with some drag racing, and that's a great event. They do a really nice job. So I'm around. You'll find me. You'll see me. I'll post.
All right. Sounds good. So is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you would like to share or that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I think we covered it all. Me and my public speaking is not so good. I like to be prompted. But, really just to leave everybody with that message that, I don't know, let's just work together. Men, women. I mean, let's just, forge forward. It's such a cool space. So much fun, so much energy. And I hope that, we all, as you're doing, as each of those women that were there are doing, we continue to grow and help each other out.
Yeah, I agree. I so appreciated being invited and being able to share what I did, what I'm doing, and just met some really cool ladies that I wouldn't have had a chance to meet, including you. So I appreciated the invitation for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we loved having you, and I hope you said earlier while we were prepping for this that you'll be there next year and you'll speak for me again, because I think you'll be much bigger, you'll be much farther forward, and you'll have another year under your belt, and hopefully we can help each other in the next 12 months make it happen, and so yes, please do come back. We'd love to have you. I know that all the girls that helped me this year will be helping next year, and hopefully it'll be bigger and better, and we can just continue to grow.
I'm sure we're going to look back in a few years and say, remember when we had the first one of these?
Hoping.
That'll be great. Well, Charlotte, I know you were worried about having to fill a lot of time, but you did great. Look, 30 minutes has gone past and it went very quickly. So I want to thank you for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Anytime you want to share anything that you're doing to our Facebook page, you're more than welcome to do that, or get in touch with me. We love promoting events. And so just remember to stay in touch with me and let me help you do that.
I will, and likewise, if there's anything I can ever do, I will try and figure out. Let's talk offline, and I'll see if I can find out who that woman was that you met.
Okay.
Maybe she'll be that mystery lady that we'll have to wait until next year to know who she was. But what a great story. I'll hopefully try and find her for you. But thank you so much. Thanks for the support. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for believing in the event and being part of it. You made it what it was. You know, you were a big part of that. And thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you again. So that was Charlotte Sharpe, and we never did mention the name of the event, but it was called The Event XX. And so we had a great time. It was in Chicago about a month or so ago, a room full of ladies that all love motors, motorsports, motorcycles, motor something, whatever it is. So I appreciate Charlotte being on with us tonight. That was great. So I have to give a little plug. I kind of got chewed on a little bit by a couple of my listeners that said, you don't promote yourself enough on your radio show. And I really don't intend for it to be that. It's more about the women that I interview. But I am going to share a couple of things with you since we have time. So one of the businesses that supports International Women's Motorsports Association is Send Out Cards. And I've been a card sender all my life, and I've been sending cards with Send Out Cards for almost 10 years. And so I am going to show you, I went to Chicago or Joliet, but they call it Chicagoland, to the NASCAR and the ARCA races. And I was there for 4 days. It was the hottest 4 days that I've been at a racetrack ever in my life. I couldn't have survived without the air conditioning in the media center and all the cold water they provided. But the fun part of it was that we got some amazing pictures. Jeremy and TK Boyd were there with me. We got some amazing pictures. We did some really cool interviews, and it wasn't me, it was TK. So she interviewed Billy Venerini. She interviewed Dale Jr. Can't forget that one. She interviewed Jordan Anderson. He's he's in World Truck. And forgetting it. So I came home, and I think you can see these. So that's Leilani. She drives an ARCA car, and Jennifer Jo Cobb drives Camping World Truck Series. She invited us to her go to the driver meeting. We got to go into the driver meeting for the truck series. Then we went back to her hauler, and they fed us dinner, and they took us out when they did the introductions. And then TK got to ride in the back of the pickup truck with her when she went around the track. She was so sweet to TK and all of us. So she got a nice card. There's Natalie Decker and Tony Breidinger. They both drive ARCA cars for Venerini Motorsports. They were amazing. I'm going to be in Berlin July 21st. So I encourage all of you to get out and see the ARCA race. I know Carson Hocevar from Kalamazoo is also going to be in that race. So that's a good night to get up there. And then Jessie was who she interviewed. So this is Jessie Uwuji. I hope I said that right, Jessie. I'm sorry. And then one of my favorite people is Rutledge Wood, and he is an NBC announcer. And of course, a lot of you guys know he's on one of those truck shows or car shows. My husband watches that. I'm not sure what it is, but I do know that I like him. He's a lot of fun. And we got to meet and talk with him a little bit, which was pretty cool. So all of those people, those are just a handful of the cards. I did send them to myself because I wanted some copies, because I don't print my pictures. And this way, if I have it on this card, then I have it. It's just like having printed a picture, only it's way better stock. And then there's pictures on the inside too. So it's pretty cool. So if your race team or your business or just personally you would like to know more about sending cards, it's a great system, and I love to share it, and I'd be happy to show you how it works. And then the other thing is we do have our T-shirts. I want to give a shout out to Tim Horvath. He designed the design on our T-shirt. And we have those in stock. You can buy those at iwmanation.com and order your shirts. And we have decals, and it's all ready to go. We'll get it sent right out to you. So those are the sponsors for our show. If you'd like to know more about what we're doing, you can go to actually racinggirlsrock.com. And we have a new little quick, easy website that you can go to, racinggirlsrock.com, or you can go to iwmanation.com and get on, and you can sign up to be a member, and you can order your shirts and whatever you want to do. We've got some exciting things coming out soon. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but we've got some pretty exciting things coming up, and I want you to stay tuned. And we'll watch our Facebook page and watch our website and listen to us on the radio. We love being on a part of Twist Network. They're great fellows. Thanks to Larry Richardson. He's behind the scenes. He keeps us on board and running. So thanks to him and everybody out there that supports our and we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.